Tonight, our special transmission as an investigation by the New York Times reveals sexual torture inside an Israeli jail. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Aisha Ashraf. Today is the 250th day since Israel started targeting Palestinians indiscriminately in its war. Israeli strikes have killed at least 11 Palestinians today in northern and central Gaza. The Palestinian Civil Defense reports rescue teams have recovered 8 bodies from the rubble of a destroyed home in Gaza City. Another body was found in a separate attack on the Abu Olba family's home in Sheikh Radwan. These bodies include those of children. Overnight airstrikes in different areas in Gaza have resulted in additional casualties. Health authorities have yet to confirm the numbers. The Israeli military has announced that 4 of its soldiers have been killed in southern Gaza. The soldiers died in an explosion in the Shabura neighborhood of Rafah. The death toll from Israel's war continues to mount at an alarming rate. At the time of writing, at least 37,124 Palestinians have been killed. A revised report by the United Nations estimates another 10,000 civilians are buried under the rubble. 84,712 have been injured. Israel faces accusations of genocide at the International Court of Justice. The top court has ordered Tel Aviv to halt operations in Rafah. Over 1 million Palestinians were seeking refuge in the city before Israel invaded it on May 6th. Since then, more millions have been forced to flee again. The United Nations Security Council has adopted a resolution supporting a Gaza ceasefire proposal by U.S. President Joe Biden. The resolution has passed with 14 votes in favor. Only Russia has abstained from voting. Palestine's UN envoy Riyad Mansour has welcomed the resolution. Mansour says that there is an immediate need for a ceasefire so that the killing of Palestinian civilians can be stopped. He has praised the diplomatic efforts of Egypt, the US, and Qatar. He has expressed gratitude to Algeria for its contributions. Mansour is urging Israel to promptly implement the ceasefire, ensure the release of Palestinian prisoners, and address forced displacement in Gaza. He has affirmed Palestine's commitment to seeking justice through the world's top courts. Mansour condemns the recent Israeli attack in Rafah City, which has resulted in significant Palestinian casualties. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is on a Middle East tour to promote Washington's Gaza truce proposal. His meetings in Tel Aviv with Israeli opposition leaders Benny Gantz and Yair Lapid focused on garnering support for the ceasefire plan. In Cairo, Blinken urged Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to press Hamas to accept the truce. He blames Hamas for prolonging the war. He will be visiting Qatar and Jordan. The U.S. proposal includes a 6-week pause in fighting, release of hostages, and a subsequent permanent ceasefire. Israel has not yet committed publicly on the ceasefire proposal. Reports show Israeli officials say they will not stop the war until Hamas is eliminated. Palestinian groups are demanding a comprehensive deal involving a complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. Despite this, the Biden administration repeatedly says that Hamas is the only hurdle to ending the war in Gaza. U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller has made an unintentional mistake saying Israel has the right to target civilians. His comments came during a press conference on Thursday. The slip occurred while addressing an Israeli airstrike on a United Nations school in Gaza. The attack killed at least 40 Palestinians. Miller suggested that if Hamas fighters were using the school as a hideout, it could be considered a legitimate target. He said Israel has the right to target those civilians. He said, however, Israel has an obligation to minimize civilian harm. The State Department later corrected the statement. He clarified he meant to refer to Hamas and not civilians. A footnote with the correction was added to the official transcript. An investigation by the New York Times has uncovered severe abuse and mistreatment of Palestinian detainees at Israel's Detainee detention facility. The facility is located on an army base in southern Israel. Nearly 4,000 Palestinians have been imprisoned in the facility since October 7th. The detainees are classified as unlawful combatants. They can be held for up to 90 days without legal representation or trial. The investigation includes interviews with former detainees, Israeli military personnel, and doctors. Their testimonies reveal being punched, kicked, and beaten with various objects. Some suffered broken ribs, while others were electrocuted during interrogations. The investigation also revealed disturbing accounts of sexual abuse. Detainees have reported a series of abuses, including beatings, electric shocks, and sexual violence and rape. One former detainee, Muhammad al-Hamlawi, describes being sexually tortured with a metal stick. The abuse caused severe pain and bleeding. A UN report reveals similar findings. It cites instances of extreme sexual torture. The report says detainees face dehumanizing conditions, including being blindfolded, handcuffed, and stripped to their underwear. They're confined in harsh environments and subjected to relentless interrogation methods, such as exposure to extremely loud music to prevent sleep. Despite these consistent reports of abuse, the Israeli military denies systematic mistreatment. It claims any instances of abuse are thoroughly investigated. However, the alarming number of deaths highlight the severity of the situation. 35 detainees have died since October 7th. Following reports of sexual abuse, Israel has begun transferring detainees from Sde Damen to military prisons in the West Bank. The United Nations World Food Program has temporarily halted its humanitarian aid deliveries to Gaza through the US-built floating pier. It has cited safety concerns for staff for the halt. The news comes after 2 warehouses of the program were targeted this past Saturday. Executive Director of the program, Cindy McCain, says it is important to ensure safe conditions before resuming operations. The U.S. Central Command reestablished the temporary pier on June 7th after it was damaged in rough seas last month. Egypt's Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry has welcomed Moscow's suggestion for an Arab-Russian meeting to address Israel's war on Gaza. Talks between Shoukry and Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov took place at a recent BRICS meeting in the Russian city of Nizhny Novgorod. Discussion included efforts to broker a ceasefire and aid entry into Gaza. Shoukry supported Russia's proposal for a ministerial meeting involving 5 Arab nations aiming to discuss Israeli assaults on Gaza. Thank you for watching. Our news is produced by Muslim Network TV, which is a not-for-profit organization. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or visit muslimnetwork.tv to donate now, so we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad.